Hey y'all, Rip Off here, and Mario turns 35 this year, and what better way to celebrate than putting plastic shit all over my desk? Yeah, this might be an issue.
So the Super Mario franchise turns 35 this year, which means Mario's officially old enough to run for president.
Wait, so you're telling me that this Super Mario Party 5 promo is a lie?
So how does Nintendo decide to celebrate this monumental milestone for one of their biggest properties?
With a bunch of timed exclusives, of course!
Yeah, so Nintendo announced a bunch of timed exclusive Mario items back in August, one of them being a free Nintendo Switch online game, a new Game & Watch system, and the gem that caught many people's eyes was Super Mario 3D All-Stars. It's basically a compilation game of Mario's best 3D outings. What could possibly go wrong?
A lot.
Yeah, suffice to say this game has seen a lot of controversy since its initial announcement, with it not including Super Mario Galaxy 2 and the absence of... Even right before release, a lot of reports were coming out about how this game might just be low-quality ports of these games.
Even knowing all that, I still went ahead and bought it anyway. Digital, of course. I've kind of hopped off the physical game wagon a bit. Yeah, I'm still kind of regretting this.
Listen, just hear me out for a second. I don't usually bitch about game menus and what they have in store for the player. However, since this game has been so clearly marketed as a best of collection, it heavily associates itself by default with the idea that
The menu has to be great and full of shit I'll never use!
it is hardly a necessity, as it is more consistency with other compilation titles. Think back to any compilation titles of older games such as Sega Genesis Classics or both Mega Man Legacy collections, and you can easily see that menus are kind of an important thing to titles such as these. To me, my shining example for these types of collections is Kirby's Dream Collection on the Wii. It might just be me, but I could always appreciate a good history lesson on a franchise, in the sense that it includes obscure facts about the franchise, but also includes real historical events that happened alongside certain game releases. That's something Kirby's Dream Collection has, but is by no means a necessity. All I would really want, at minimum, is some sort of franchise history, or even some facts about the games themselves. So does Super Mario 3D All-Stars have all that?
Nope.
Nintendo basically said, to hell with the fancy shit. They basically just gave us box art, a description of each game, release date, and soundtracks.
I mean, they kinda tried.
That's the thing too, the soundtracks sound like a good idea until you realize they kinda half-assed that too. The music is there, no time lengths for individual songs, just complete soundtrack lengths, like that helps anyone. No other functions like repeat or shuffle, it's just kinda there. No one was asking for the next version of the Smash music app with this collection, but at least some of these basic things would have been fine to get. But I'll stop bitching and say that at least everything looks neat and organized, even if they use some pre-existing number assets from Luigi's Mansion 3, but overall it looks presentable, if not the most ideal thing in the world.
I know, I went pretty hard on the menus back there, but that's probably because that's the only thing technically new and exclusive to this collection. Now, I do want to establish a few things because of course I'm going into the games. That's the whole point of buying the collection in the first place. I do own the original games, I do own the original hardware, so by default I've played these games and all more than once, so this isn't my first rodeo. Hell, this isn't even my second rodeo with these games. This is like third or fourth or even fifth time playing these games, which just kind of shows that they are really fun. But since this collection is kind of an introduction to many who may not have played these games before, I think it's important to look at them not only as just remasters, because I bought it as a remaster, but as three separate games. I think it's important to look at each as a game by themselves, mainly because for a lot of people nowadays in 2020, this might be the first time they're playing Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, or Super Mario Galaxy, because going out there buying the games on their original hardware and then going out and buying the original hardware is much more expensive. This is a much easier alternative. So I think it's important to look at it in that aspect as well. And I think it's kind of cool to see if in the modern day that these games hold up. So do they hold up? Well, we're gonna have to look and see.
It's me, Mario!
Mario 64 is and will always be one of the funnest games you will ever play, period. This is coming from someone who's played it both on N64 and DS. Okay, 3DS, but same point goes. Even playing it in this collection for the third or fourth time, I still have the same sense of joy and amazement that I had playing it for the first time all those years ago. There's just something about playing this game that just gives you an immediate sense of joy. Whether it's searching the castle for secrets, experiencing Bob-omb Battlefield or Womp's Fortress for the 100th time, swimming through Dire Docks and Jolly Roger Bay, exploring the shit out of Hazy Maze Cave, Wet Dry World, or traversing Tall Mountain, Lethal Lava Land, and Shifting Sand Land, or losing your hat forever in Snowman's Land. Yeah, that kinda explains why a lot of the Mario 64 footage I filmed has Mario like this without a hat. These levels, their names, their layouts, and secrets will be something you will remember forever. Mario 64 is packed with 15 completely open levels with 6 stars each, not counting the 100 coin stars, which bumps up each level's star counter to 7, with 15 hidden stars throughout Peach's castle and their own little sub-levels, which are a joy to find yourself. Each level has at least one thing that'll make you say, wow, that was genuinely fun. I haven't felt this kind of fun since Dad still lived at home, and even if some levels have familiar themes to another, it never feels like the developers were being lazy. Each level feels unique in its own way. Bomb Battlefield just places you in the middle of a goddamn war zone with the goal of killing the king of the suicide bombing people. Bomb's Fortress has you going to kill another monarch of the Mario Kingdom, except this time you're infiltrating a fortress where there's shit in the walls. Jolly Roger Bay, that eel still scares the shit out of me, and that ship just magically unsinks itself. You ever think about that? Like, no joke, one mission you have to go underwater and inside it, and in another mission it's just floating like nothing had happened.
Damn it, Nintendo, I want answers.
Cool Mountain, you get to murder a baby penguin. Don't act all high and mighty and say you would never do that. We all did that shit. Big Boo's Haunt, you want to shit yourself through the means of fear? Here it is, 64 bits and all. Hazy Maze Cave, probably the biggest level in the game with that really cool secret towards the bottom where you get to unlock the metal cap. Lethal Lava Land, you get to go and explore everything there is and inside the freaking volcano. Shifting Sand Land, there's a pyramid you can go inside and explore, which is pretty cool. Dire Docks, the better of the two water levels. This one you can use the vanishing metal caps to get some stars. Snowman's Land, those bastards stole my hat. Yeah, giant snowman, I'm looking at you. Wet Dry World, you get to control the level of the water, and there's a secret town you can find too. Tall Mountain, it's a giant mountain, what can I say? Tiny Huge Island, I think this one's pretty self-explanatory, however this is the only level in the game that has two paintings to itself. Tick-Tock Clock, this level might be complete bullshit, but you're inside a clock. And Rainbow Ride, it's just a bunch of random shit in the air. I wonder if that can be inspiration for a Nintendo game in the future. On top of the 15 levels, there are 3 boss levels that are kinda similar to one another, but still fun nonetheless.
Now, this might be considered a controversial take, but I really don't give a shit. I'm just gonna say it anyway. I think the Bowser fights are bullshit in this game.
Yeah, my one major gripe with the game is the Bowser fights. It's just that they're so stupid and so hard to maneuver. Like, for you to get a good shot at it, you'd have to have Bowser right next to the bombs get a guaranteed shot. But even in the final boss, you can't even do that, because after the first 2 hits, Bowser decides to make an arena a goddamn star, so at that point, it's just dumb luck.
Overall, Super Mario 64 is a fun game. Even in its most frustrating parts, it's still fun through and through. I can't express that enough. But then again, this is a video about Super Mario 3D All-Stars, so it is important to take a look at how this game was ported over to Switch.
Yeah, this is where the slowdown starts to happen of all the praise I've been giving Super Mario 64. This is a game collection after all, and apart from just being the games themselves, they do need to function or be improved to fit the new hardware it's on. Does Mario 64 make the jump to Switch well, or does it fall flat? Well, it certainly works fine. Yeah, I know. Honestly, this game just kinda passes with its emulation on Switch. Most people might attribute it to the graphics, but to be honest with you, Mario 64 isn't really Mario 64 without these graphics. Like, even Super Mario Odyssey proved that with the Super Mario 64 costume. No, my biggest gripes with the jump over to Switch is the aspect ratio and the control system. Let's start with that aspect ratio, shall we? Mario 64 is the only game in this collection sporting a 4:3 aspect ratio, and for those of you who don't know what the hell that means, that basically means a square. What really sucks is that there's no option to change it or to put borders around it like the SNES or NES Classic systems. What also sucks is that this game was clearly uplifted for this collection, with the menus and text being redone. I mean, you do get used to it after a while, but it really feels weird when you have this going on with an older copy.
What the hell?
Again, I almost understand it, but at the same time, if my N64 can present it as widescreen on a newer TV, I think this version should be able to as well. What's even more a kick in the balls is, you see that on the menu? Yeah, that's Mario 64 in freaking widescreen, on the goddamn menu. Another gripe that I have with the 64 remaster is the controls. Again, not the biggest issue in the world, but I still feel should have been addressed. So to give you all a little history lesson, early 3D games would only allow you to go up to 8 directions until controls were made to withhold full 360-degree motion. Again, it was fine on the Nintendo 64 back in 1996, it was the start of 3D games after all, but it's 2020. Sure, maybe it isn't as distracting or game-breaking, but a shitty camera is. Yeah, the camera's really bad in this game. Like, do you realize that we can use 360-degree motion on that too, right? It's not 1996 anymore with the 4 camera buttons, but I digress.
I think the best way to sum this game up in the Super Mario 3D All-Stars collection, it would probably be a really good game with subpar emulation.
Super Mario Sunshine! Woohoo!
Through the whole spiel I gave at the beginning about how it's about the game and not the remaster, but it kind of helps, yeah, that's kind of hard to ignore when the game is so shittily ported over.
Yeah, it had to be said. First impressions are everything, and this game's first impression was god-awful. Like, this game kind of made me realize how shitty Mario Sunshine was as a game, which is sad because I thought it was really good on GameCube. Here's just a few things that I spotted in the first couple minutes of the beginning tutorial. Cutscenes stripped right out of the year 2002 with no uplifts or updates whatsoever. Graphics, they look like shit. The GameCube still looks better than this, and that console is over a decade old. Slowdowns whenever there's too much shit going on, that was stripped right from the GameCube version. Poor updating of voice acting, no heads-up display facelifts, original button sprites used, Isle Delfino maps slowing down the game when activated, movement boxes being visible and controls feeling like shit. Okay, maybe that last one can kind of be teetered because I used the GameCube originally, so I kind of have that tendency to feel and use the GameCube controls, but all the other shit is real. Again, these are huge issues that the game has, but I've also played it before, so that might also be why the glaring issues are so glaring to begin with. However, playing it more, you do get accustomed to it. To see if it was just prior experience ruining this port for me, I abducted Ryan, who's never played Sunshine before, and I asked him what he thought of the first couple minutes of his.
So I have my interviewee. You may come in. Thank you so much for doing this for me. Please
Thanks for having me.
sit over here.
So I'm here. What is your name, sir?
My name is Ryan.
Ryan. Okay, and now just want to get some background information on you. Do you own a GameCube?
I did not.
You don't. Okay. Have you ever played Mario Sunshine before? Besides on Switch?
Nope.
No.
Never.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask you a few questions just because I want to gain some more intelligence on you lower life forms.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
So can I do that?
Sure.
And you won't sue me.
That depends.
That depends. You could suck my cock. Okay.
Oh.
All right. So the first question. What are your general first thoughts of the game?
After playing it,
Yeah.
it's fun.
Fun.
The controls are, I think, really good on the Switch. After having the only 3D Mario game I played be Mario Galaxy, it's fun.
Okay, good. What did you think graphically wise? Did you think the Nintendo Switch was pushed to its limits for this one?
I do not think it was pushed to its limits.
How so?
I feel like the game could be upgraded to a higher resolution.
Understandable. Now let me ask you, what are your thoughts? I guess gameplay pacing wise. What do you think of the level design?
It's the first Mario game where I've had to look around to find the objective.
You haven't played Odyssey?
Odyssey, that's kind of different because you don't go into individual levels one at a time and then leave and then come back.
I see. Very insightful. And I guess out of 10, what would you give the Super Mario Sunshine? Just right now.
Probably an 8 out of 10 after having played it for about 30 minutes.
Okay, and just one final question. What are your thoughts on the oh-so Oscar-worthy voice acting?
It's amazing. Best voice acting I've ever heard in a game.
You're full of shit.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
It is the peak of video game voice acting. All voice actors should look at that game to try and find inspiration.
Leave.
Okay,
Just
bye.
get out.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
It was not a pleasure.
Screw you too.
And there you have it, folks. An opinion on a new Sunshine player. Getting back to the game, instead of having Mario go all over the place like other games, they decided to keep him in one confined area this time around, this being the beach city of Isle Delfino, and I will say, with the initial thought of it being all summer-type beach levels, Mario Sunshine's able to pump out a good amount of variety in the level department. The story this time around here is Mario, Peach, and Toadsworth before he died in that drive-by shooting, of course, God rest his soul, all go to Isle Delfino for vacation. Upon arrival, shit just hits the fans with the weird goop all over the place, and you get flood, and then you get arrested by police. So yeah, Mario kinda gets framed for all the goo on Isle Delfino, even though he just arrived with the others. Spoiler alert, by the way, Shadow Mario, I mean Bowser Jr., frames Mario, and then guess what he does? Really, guess.
What does he do?
Yeah, he ends up kidnapping Peach.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, so it gets pretty basic towards the end, but still kind of interesting. But the voice acting is so god awful, like no wonder no one says a word in Galaxy. This game scared Nintendo shitless with that. The game consists of 8 levels, these being Bianco Hills, Rico Harbor, Gelato Beach, Noki Bay, Peanut Park, Serena Beach, Pianta Village, and Corona Mountain, with there being more little subworlds with bonus shines to get, one of the most famous being the most infuriating, the Pachinko game. As well as shines, blue coins are scattered around Isle Delfino itself, which I guess constitutes it as its own level in its own right, but I'm still gonna call it the hub world. Each main level has 8 regular shines, with 2 bonus being obtainable through the 100 coin shine, and the red coin challenge on the no flood stage. Again, I do want to say that although these levels may seem bland and unoriginal, they're simply anything but. Yeah, that's what I personally think this game's saving grace is. The level designs are so unique and memorable. Bianco Hills, another classic first Mario level. There's no way to describe it really. It's really like the Sunshine's version of Bomb Battlefield or Whomp's Fortress. Rico Harbor, it's exactly what it says it is, a harbor. Again though, it's super unique and new to Mario and just super fun to traverse. Gelato Beach, the one real beach level in the game where you get to ride the legendary Sandbird. Noki Bay, I just love traversing the mountainsides of this level and the secret pathways in the walls are just cool as hell. Peanut Park, it's an amusement park, what can I say, and it uses the rides so well as platforming objects. Serena Beach, who the hell could forget that hotel or those damn hordes of ghost manta rays. Pianta Village, this one has mushrooms and it's just different from everything else in the game, no other way to describe it really. And Corona Mountain, the place of mass conspiracy at the current moment, but one memorable lead up to the final boss.
You know what the weird thing is about Super Mario Sunshine? It's that the shines that people remember the most and talk about the most and, make references to are always the most infuriating. Like, the top 3 I can think of the top of my head that are considered the most memorable shines in Super Mario Sunshine is the Sandbird, the Manta Ray level, and the Pachinko game. 3 of the most infuriating levels of the game.
With its hard dedication to originality in the level design, I do have to hit it with some laziness in the shine department. Whether it's the constant chasing of Shadow Mario or the overabundance of red coin shines, you'll start to notice it after a while. One other thing I want to add is the reinvention of blue coins. They were originally introduced alongside red coins in Super Mario 64, where they counted as 5 coins as opposed to 1, and that was the only function. In Super Mario Sunshine, however, they count towards shines. Every 10 blue coins counts as a shine once you exchange it with this fine fella here. I find that every time I start up a new Sunshine game, I tend to look up how many shines are obtainable through these means, and apparently it's 24 attributed to blue coins. So that means there's 240 blue coins in the entire game to collect. I'm not complaining, in fact, I thought they were a fun addition to Sunshine. Pro tip though, I just collect them and then when I collect all of them, I exchange them, just to make sure I don't miss any.
Super Mario Sunshine is an okay game with its pros and very visible cons. Emulation for the Super Mario 3D All-Stars collection is the worst out of the 3 and it is really bad. But on the bright side, I will say that the more you play, you will get used to it and it won't be as visible or as distracting as your first time play.
Oh my god. This is what the collection should have been from the start. A great game, yes, but the emulation, the attention to detail, it's all so amazing. I always say this, but it's still important to note. This is the one game that should have had the most issues coming over to another platform. This is because of its heavy focus on motion controls. Yeah, no shit, it's a Wii game, but holy shit, they did it perfectly. For a good majority of this collection, as well as other Switch games, I primarily use my Pro Controller, just like many other people. But this game just straight up requires the Joy-Con controls, and it all works just perfectly. It feels like I'm using a Wiimote and Nunchuck again, and the motion controls are absolutely great, and there are no issues with it. Not only that, but everything looks so beautifully polished on the Switch. Keep in mind that the Wii was not an HD console, making this game by default not HD. But they made the jump to HD anyway, 1080p, 60 frames per second. Basically that means more heart went into this game than Sunshine ever got. Also, I just really want to appreciate the extra details that the developers threw in, with the newer text made to accommodate the buttons and controllers for the Nintendo Switch. I don't know why, but I just love seeing the Joy-Con animations and sprites they used for the examples where the Wiimotes used to be. That should have been standard across all these games. Alright, I'll stop gawking at the remake. The important part is still the game. If you really thought I was gonna bash Super Mario Galaxy, you're a goddamn idiot. This game is a straight up masterpiece, both with its gameplay and its soundtrack. Mario has always had memorable soundtracks, but this is probably my favorite out of all of them. In fact, my favorite game soundtrack ever. The live orchestral music just adds so much to this game, I cannot emphasize that enough. I listen to this shit in my sleep. That's not to discount the gameplay by any means, because it's just outright phenomenal. This game is actually much more linear when compared to Super Mario 64 and Sunshine, which is no issue at all, especially considering the fact that there are 42 galaxies in total, all being as unique as they can be, especially with the game working on the idea that, well,
Shit happens in space.
this game opens up with the Star Festival, and good God, it feels great not to hear shitty voice acting again. Although this is another Bowser Kidnaps Peach story, it feels so much more cinematic and overall epic. Stakes feel involved here where other Mario games don't. After you get your ass handed to you again, you end up on the Gateway Galaxy with the main objective to, well, chase bunnies, because that happened in Mario 64 once upon a time. This is the tutorial world and basically teaches you the controls as well as the concept of these sphere planetoids that you will spend all game on. Soon after you meet Rosalina, and after chatting with her a bit, she sends you to get the first Grand Star. Again, this first mission is meant to show you the basics of the game in a more natural environment, as well as other things that you'll come across such as keys, sling stars, and flip switches to name a few. After nabbing the first Grand Star, you're sent to what's left, the Comet Observatory, this game's hub world. Basically, these guys got their asses handed to them really bad too, so don't feel too bad about yourself. Unlike you, the Lumas and Rosalina seem to be pretty helpless, so they send you to go grab Power Stars for them to get their ship to run again.
Yeah, you're basically their bitch.
Sections of the games are split up by domes. A dome is basically what the world maps were to the older Mario games. Each dome has their own established function within the ship, but for your purposes, it's just a navigation point for levels. Each dome has 3 standard levels, these being levels with around 6 stars in total, 1 mystery block level that unlocks after getting an undisclosed amount of stars, which has only 1 mission to keep in mind, and a boss galaxy containing a Grand Star. Each boss galaxy is a traditional level within its own right, with you either facing Bowser or Bowser Jr. at the end of it. Bowser fights are pretty standard and pretty consistent through the game. Basically think Mario 64, 3 times of the same shit with the difficulty going up each time. With Bowser Jr., it kinda mixes things up with either some contraption Bowser Jr. has come up with, or you fighting him in his airship. Once you get the Grand Star, it powers up another section of the Comet Observatory, which is nice because it's a more visual way of showing progression throughout the game. Along with that, each dome also has its own Hungry Luma, which you feed star bits with, a new collectible until they burst into a new galaxy. Kinda weird when you think about it, so just don't. When I say this game is out there, I really mean it's out there. One level you're racing a ghost, then you go through spaceship, then there's a level where you get to experience both lava and ice at the same goddamn time. Then there's the level with the bees, you can't forget the bees, and you're one of the bees. No, but wait, then you're walking on a whole goddamn wooden train and toy robots, then you're on a space station, okay, that's actually kinda standard in space. Next thing you know, on a goddamn beach, and then Candyland, why the hell not? Again, shit just happens in space, case closed. There's so much in this game that is just unexpected, and just so unexpectedly fun by result, because
if it's not fun, why bother?
I know I've barely scratched the surface of this game, but I think it's enough for you to make a basic judgment on it. This game is downright phenomenal, whichever way you decide to look at it. And out of all the 3 games in the Super Mario 3D All-Stars collection, this is by far the best game, as well as the best remaster, and that's not even questionable at this point. That is a straight-up fact.
Super Mario 3D All-Stars is a mixed bag for sure. That's not to say that any of these games are downright awful, far from it in fact. This is still Nintendo we're talking about. All 3 games are good in their own right, some more than others, however when looking at it as remasters of these older titles, I can't help but say that corners were clearly cut. Maybe not downright game breaking, but just kinda seems lazy on Nintendo's part, which kinda makes things a bit worse since this game is so heavily associated with the 35th anniversary of the Super Mario franchise. Again, Super Mario 64 is a good game, a really good game, with an okay remaster. Super Mario Sunshine is an okay game with a shitty remaster, which kinda sucks because it reinforces the idea that Sunshine was always a bad game. And Super Mario Galaxy is a really good game with the best remaster. It shouldn't have been broken up into 3 categories like that, it should have remained a high standard among all 3 of them. As for Nintendo doing a limited release of this game, it just kinda makes no sense to me. Hopefully it either lifts or an updated version comes out soon after, addressing some of the major issues. But who knows? Is it worth it? For new players, absolutely. I mean, your alternative is going out, buying a Wii and N64 at the minimum. If you want to make the home stretch, you could buy a GameCube too, but your Wii can play GameCube games, as well as the 3 games separately. So this is probably the best and obviously the cheapest option for you. For those like me who have the original games and hardware, I would say it's still worth it, and it's nice to experience this on a new console, especially on the go. Again though, it's totally up to personal preference. It is something I still recommend though.
That's pretty much all from me. I should probably start to clean this shit up. Listen, decorating for celebratory events like birthdays or holidays, it's all nice and dandy, but in use it's pretty impractical, I have to say. And you know, most birthdays average out to about a day in total, so you know, it's probably best now that I start to clean this up.
Hands up.
Yeah.
I heard you're playing Super Mario 3D All Stars
Whoa.
after its cancellation
I
date.
didn't mean it, Nintendo.
What we do to people like you?
No! Where the hell am I? Oh, shit. Doggy Kong.